Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Broke on advance, you don't even gotta mention. Swap it in the decks, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the sex, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Jago beat. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity. Flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gon' end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution. OnChain. OnChain Revolution, Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recaps and I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, change. Yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the stack. Ordinal's the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for the OnChain Hour, and this one is going to be amazing, guys, because the banks are closed, but Bitcoin is open. The stock market is closed, but Bitcoin is open. Guys, Bitcoin does not close. This is the next generation of things, right? Tokenization of coins means you can't close. Everything is decentralized. Everything is on chain, and this is why we're going to see this change of dynamic really soon. This change of generational wealth really soon is because we're entering an age where things don't close. We're entering an age of everything is available for you at all times. And I'm really looking forward to that. We have a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. We're gonna get into a little bit of the Zora. So me and Yagobi have both been kind of messing with Zora.co. It's this way to tokenize content. I don't know. Tokenize images, tokenize videos. It's different. It's cool. People are actually using their brains. It's not copy and paste anymore, right? So really looking forward to going over that in a little bit. We got Jake joining us at 12 p.m. Eastern time, about an hour from right now. And of course, today is Fluid Friday. We're going to get into some Fluid stuff. They have some updates. And remember, if you have some passes staked, you will be able to unstake them on the 20th, which is Sunday. So definitely looking forward to that. So, but without further ado, let's bring my partner in, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
What's going on, man? How are you? How's everything?
I'm good. Bitcoin, for me, I'm good as long as Bitcoin doesn't lose the strength that we're seeing. It hasn't shown maybe what Raul Paul's thinking. That's going to shoot up here. I think he said yesterday or maybe the day before, the next few days. I don't see that. I see more of a chop following what Colin Talks Crypto is thinking, right? So another week, 2 week chop, up, down, and eventually get into that upspring.
I actually see a run up on Monday. I think, with Easter being Sunday, today being a day off for the banks, I feel like Monday and Tuesday are going to be, people getting back to their desks. Maybe they took a vacation this week. It's definitely been slow. We definitely haven't seen price in really anything go up too much or down too much. It's kind of been really sideways all week, which kind of shows you that maybe some big traders took vacation. And then maybe they come back to their desk on Monday and get bullish. I mean, there's just so much bullish Bitcoin catalysts in the last couple of months that I think that are eventually just going to spring, man. It's going to insanely, there's going to be a correction to the upside for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a mixture of both, right? Maybe it doesn't take as long. Maybe it doesn't take, it's not going to happen over the weekend. And we see something maybe
Definitely
next
not
week.
over the weekend. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think it's this weekend because of the holiday and stuff. So, all right. White House says President Trump studying whether he has the ability to fire Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. We do know that he's the one who appoints the Fed Chairman. He does have to get approved by Congress. But do you think Trump's going to find a way to fire Powell?
I don't think he wants to. I'm pretty sure the people like Scott Benson and stuff probably are saying, like, if we can get everybody on the same page, that's the best ideal situation, right? I was kind of going back and forth on crypto Twitter with some rando person, but talking about, because Elizabeth Warren's doing her media circuit, right? Saying, we can't have this because if we do, then blah, 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 total authoritarian and all these things. But, you can remember a quick, 3 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, whenever she was complaining about, Jerome Powell not lowering rates in time, quick enough. So this happens right now. Obviously, she wasn't the president, so she's not going to say, "Well, I can replace him." I think a lot of times Trump uses his words to kind of try to maneuver and stuff like that. But following through with something like that, I think it would take a lot for him to replace him. He's in till next May, right? So they probably going to look for somebody until then. In my opinion, I don't think he forces them out.
Do you think Trump goes to the meeting on the 6th? He just knocks on the door during the meeting, right during the Fed minutes, and kind of sits in on that meeting. I think he does have the power to sit in on meetings.
Yeah.
Do you think that would maybe push Jerome to kind of do what he wants here, which is cut rates?
No, because I think, you have to remember that for Jerome Powell to just give in would also not necessarily be a good thing too, right? So like for him to just be like, okay, whatever the president says, Now if it happens or they can even make it look organic. And I think that would probably be more of the best situation is kind of like chill down with like the rhetoric and then have kind of like this communication back and forth to say, hey, how do we get on the same page? Maybe it takes another month and a half, 2 months to really get into more of the loosening phase. But for him to like go in and on meeting, I think that would actually increase the tension. And if he made a decision based off of that, he's going to get a lot of ridicule, especially from the opposition.
Yeah, but Jerome Powell understands the tariffs, right? And what Trump's trying to do. This is something this is a monkey wrench thrown into Jerome Powell's plan. And if he's talked into potentially doing something, maybe he's on the fence about, right, by someone like Trump who, but he's not going to want to look weak, right? Jerome Powell it's all about, these guys are all about legacy. And that's one thing I hate about, these older guys in in political, they already made their money, right? Jerome's a very rich man. It's all about his legacy now, and I hate that about these guys. Like they're always just like, it's we have to do what's right for the people. We have to do what's right for the government. And if we have these insane potential inflation numbers coming in because of tariffs, Jerome needs to step in and do something about it now and not wait. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. The like I said, the biggest problem would be like he's come out and said he didn't expect the tariffs to be so intense. So that's what's kind of made him kind of push back, and I think that's what's frustrating the current administration, right? So if he lets up on that, I just think there needs to be some more time, and they can work this out if they work together towards it.
Yeah, 100%. Vietnam's finance ministry partners with Bybit to launch a crypto trading pilot and build legal framework for its massive crypto user base. So Vietnam apparently has a massive crypto user base, and they're actually partnering with Bybit to kind of get things going with a crypto trading pilot. What do you think this is first? And this is Bybit. We know that Binance is out also working with countries, so this is going to be This is a race, man. This is a race for these countries right now.
This is the Bybit that got hacked with the Ethereum. Oh yeah, I don't know about that. No,
They
yeah,
recovered. I mean, you got to give them that, dude. You can't. They recovered for a $1.4 billion hack very quickly.
it does show the cohesiveness I think that Bybit has with Binance and some, OKX. There's definitely a group that kind of say, okay, look, let's stick together, kind of have each other's back. So I guess that gives me a little bit more relief. But that hack was just so big, right? But anyways, going back here to Vietnam, I do think that they're probably trying to look for, hey, how can we start to integrate this new system of finance? We don't want to be behind, because Vietnam's actually one of the countries in Southeast Asia, outside of like Singapore. Malaysia is really, Singapore is the most advanced in my opinion in that area. Malaysia is close behind them, and then you got probably Vietnam, I would say, which because they've caught up a lot in the past 10-15 years. Manufacturing, kind of like those, volume with lower quality, has got them to, they kind of are like China back in like early 2000, mid 2000s, right? And so they don't want to go backwards. They want to move forwards. And I think this is a great decision by them to do this.
Crypto offers a lot of these third world countries, I guess you would call them, actually an advantage over some of these bigger countries, because they can actually come in and move things along a lot faster, and potentially getting them out of the third world country narrative, because they're going to be using a lot of innovation to kind of go on their payment rails, right?
Especially the ones that were coming out of that already, which Vietnam is. Like if you went to Vietnam like early 2000s to today, it's like day and night. Like their big cities or infrastructure is getting better, stuff like that. So this is perfect for them because they have the capital to put into infrastructure for a new, crypto financial type system. Something like Cambodia is, which, they're more in kind of where Vietnam was, right? But if they see that, these things are working, then some of these other countries that can establish, because governments, can find ways to get infrastructure capital or get help for that. They can see, hey, it works for them, and let's kind of follow suit. So yeah, I think Vietnam is going to be a really good example of what it looks like for a country that's emerging and adopting this new financial system.
Yeah, I love it. I love that these countries are doing this, man. Beat out the United States. We do know the United States is headed that way. We know Russia's headed that way. China's headed that way. If you can kind of front run them, you're gonna have the advantage. You're gonna have the advantage for sure. Next thing here. All right, so we talked about the M2 money supply and everything, right? But there's another chart that we have talked about in the past, but it is looking like Bitcoin could explode here. Let me show this chart right here. This chart right here is Bitcoin versus hash rate. So as you can see, every single time, Bitcoin has dipped, hash rate has gained. Bitcoin eventually came back up. Same thing, right? Bitcoin dipped, hash rate's staying up. Hash rate is now running away from Bitcoin. It is completely and just running away from it. Bitcoin's about to snap, bro. Bitcoin, I mean, look at this. Bitcoin had to reach 320,000 to get above. To catch up. So goes to my plan here. This goes to everything I've said over the last 2 years about Bitcoin hitting 700K this year. And I think hash rate is gonna emerge. Like as Bitcoin's going up here, you're gonna see more and more hash rate coming online. This is about to go parabolic here. Every single chart that we've looked at, everything from Plan B to the M2 money supply to for the hash rate, every chart is saying Bitcoin is undervalued.
This is the most confident that I've felt, I think, through this cycle of forecasting an uptick for Bitcoin, an uptrend that is going to be aggressive, right? Whether it's going to last a month and a half, last through the summer, maybe a little cool down, and then a great Q4, or, maybe don't really have a speed bump too much and we just go into Q4. But my whole point is there's so many things that are just matching up, right? And the hash rate, I feel like the M2 supply is a bit more accurate than the hash rate, just because, like,
I don't know, man. Look at this.
I mean, both are, forecasting metrics, right? But I just feel like there was a moment in time when the hash rate was really bumping and it took a little bit longer to catch up. But M2 does take 10 weeks, either 10 to 15 weeks, depending on what what your perspective is on the delay of tailing the supply. But anyways, going back to multiple different metrics are
Yeah.
aligning for this snowball effect, and I'm excited for it, man. So that's why I'm okay to chill for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I just dude, this is like everything, like
Bullish.
if everything is so bullish. Like, look down here. This is very similar to kind of what happened down here, and then you saw kind of Bitcoin run up and then take a little sideways. But I mean, dude, look at this right here. When hash rate came down a bit, Bitcoin came down a bit too, right? And then it's just
Yeah.
upward momentum. This is actually, to me, a chart that is actually probably more accurate than M2, just because of the fact that it has everything to do with Bitcoin. And the miners are betting. The miners are betting right now that number goes up. And if they're making this big of a bet and they're turning on their miners, if they're losing money right now, they are all kind of expecting something. And the miners control price. I mean, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, if the miners all decided to sell a coordinated thing, they can bring down price. They can bring up price. The miners are what kind of really run Bitcoin.
Yeah, and the large companies have to answer to the board, and we know that
Yeah.
BlackRock is a part of some of those boards,
Yeah.
or or at least like they have a lot of influence, being majority shareholders in certain companies, and so for them to make this bet, then the people that have been in traditional finance that can make these kind of like business forecasting decisions the past 20, 30, 40 years are on board with this, right? Because they're saying, hey, spend the money. If you lose a little bit here, that's okay, because we know where it's about to be. That's bullish as heck, if you ask me.
Yeah, 100%. JP Morgan analysts report Bitcoin has failed to benefit from a safe haven flows that are boosting gold. What do you think? Do you think they're right here? Do you think that
No,
gold? I know, so
I
when you
don't.
say that.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, look, gold has from an aggressive uptrend outperformed Bitcoin the first part of this year, but we know that Bitcoin catches up pretty quick, and we know where the transition's happening. And I've said this several times. The reason why I think gold is benefiting so much is because, like, when you had such an uncertainty as like global trade order being like shuffled and all these things, then you go to the top of the top people that are saying, okay, what's the safest thing to cling on right now? What do we know the most? What have we known to be safe for the past 50, 100 years? Gold. So the old heads, the old traditional, okay, that's and it's understandable. You can't hate that. But because Bitcoin has been stable with a little bit of up, sometimes it corrects a little bit, but it hasn't gotten gut punched with these tariff headlines lately. You can see there is a generational trend kind of saying, okay, the next couple generations will probably think that way of gold. I would say the next 20 years, the same as Bitcoin.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree. Gold is a 1,000-year-old asset. Bitcoin is a 16-year-old asset. I mean, that's always going to be a little bit of an issue between the two for a little bit longer anyway. Galaxy Digital transferred 12,000 ETH, $20 million to Binance over the past 6 days. They deposited 62,000 ETH across exchanges. So that was just the Binance, but they're gearing up for something. And I did a little research. So Galaxy Digital recently settled a $200 million lawsuit related to Luna token trading. The ETH movements might be connected to financial restructuring following the settlement. So I don't think that they lost faith in ETH. I'm just thinking they're trying to figure out a way to start paying down this $200 million. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're looking to ETH as like one of the assets they're willing to shell out, right, for this. But a lot of people that I talk to in the space, right, are saying, that have been here multiple cycles, are saying, yeah, we understand ETH looks like it's weak and all these things, but there's going to be a moment. So that opportunity is still there. I agree. But I can kind of see why Galaxy Digital might be, and I don't know what else they have available to, liquidate as well. So, this is, I don't know. What's your thought on it? Do you think they're just, for them, this is one of the assets they're willing to cut?
I think this is a total mistake. I'm hoping they're putting these on exchanges to stake, but I think selling now, I mean, these guys are really intelligent. Like, this is a really group of people. I'm hoping that this isn't a sell down plan, but this is actually going to these exchanges to stake this Ethereum. But I just don't know, right? If they're selling Ethereum now, I think I lost all faith in Galaxy Digital. I mean, they don't have a lot of assets that are liquid. They own a lot of assets that unlock in the next 2 years, right? Layer 0. There's a bunch of different assets in there that they've put up money for in pre-seed rounds that they'll be getting, and they don't have a lot of liquid assets either. I was looking on their book; it's only really Bitcoin and Ethereum, some Solana, like nowhere near as much Solana as Ethereum though. But they don't really have that much liquid there besides ETH, and maybe they just don't want to give up their Bitcoin right now, and they got to pay down this $200 million. But who knows, right? So
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you something real quick about ETH. So let's say that, we're in August and things start to get supercharged with the alt market. Obviously ETH is one of those indicators people look at for that. What could the ETH team or, someone, the teams building on ETH do to kind of supercharge like the usage and stuff?
They don't need to do anything. ETH is perfect the way it is. Just keep building. Just keep ETH doesn't have to be the meme coin casino. ETH is not that. ETH just needs to be Ethereum. You got to remember, Sony, Coinbase, Strike. These are all companies that are building on top of ETH. Yeah, they're L2 side chains, but at the same time, they're all finalizing on ETH. ETH doesn't have to do anything, but just be the powerhouse that it is, and just keep building infrastructure, keep building security, and just keep, just don't worry about what people say. Just keep building.
Yeah, because eventually, if the idea is to be a servicer to these layer 2s, and some of these layer 2s are planning to have tons of clients working on there, doing transactions and stuff, eventually that will catch up, right? So those transactions will bring the transactions that might be slow right now. So you're basically betting on these other layers and companies that are pouring into creating layers that are being built on top of it. I agree.
And you have to remember, when people want to stake $100 million, they're not doing it on Solana, they're doing it on Ethereum, right? That's the big money chain. Ethereum is a premium chain for premium usage. You don't need to go down to the level of Solana. And yet we talked to a lot of builders, and some of the builders we talked to say Solana's infrastructure sucks. Like finding tools and stuff we need it's almost impossible. Ethereum, everyone's plug and play. So
true, very true, and that's going to matter a lot whenever you're building infrastructure and stuff. Because if your API library is a mess and you got to look, it's just not easy to build. But Ethereum's is smooth. They'll probably pick that, especially the big money.
And like, no one's building a Solana L2. I mean, besides Jack Levin, right? Like, no one's really doing that. So
Zeus?
I mean, we'll see. Yeah. That's not an L2. We learned that.
Was it like a application on top? Chain app?
Just a bridge.
Okay.
I mean, Zeus is just a bridge. Kraken will list BNB on April 22nd. Deposits and withdrawals are now open, and trading is post-only mode. So what do you think about Kraken listing BNB? I looked into that a little bit. They said Kraken hadn't listed BNB before, likely due to its ties to Binance or regulatory concerns. Now they're shifting strategy to meet demand and tap into BNB's growing market presence. Potentially building on Kraken on BNB as well, maybe doing something there. I don't know. What do you think about Kraken actually adopting BNB here?
It's the coalition, man. It's the A team.
Yeah.
It's the Coinbase, Kraken. You have your A team on the west, and then you have your A team in the east. And I think there's going to be like a major kind of like centralized exchange club. And I feel like that because BNB and even I know BNB and maybe Tron aren't like on the best. The biggest thing that I'm seeing is World Liberty 5 being open to the east. And so I think Kraken sees that and says, okay, this administration and this new regulation is going to be cool with the east. We're going to be cool with them too, especially the big market exchanges like Binance.
Yeah, 100%. Circle Research has launched refund protocol, enabling on-chain USD refunds and dispute resolutions with non-custodial arbitration and escrow. So I was like, how the hell is this going to work? So I looked into it a little bit. Funds are held in escrow with present refund terms and an arbitrator. So basically, you're sending your USD to a third party. you're not actually sending it to that person, and that kind of just waits for a certain amount of days to make sure everything's good, and then it goes to that wallet. What do you think about Circle's refund program here?
I mean, this is going back to having a feature that our legacy system has,
Yeah,
right? Basically a dispute system with like I mean, if you're gonna do mass adoption, you have to have some sort of like protection for consumers. And I think this is where they're trying to figure out how can we do this in this new
yeah,
financial system, right? And so with having a preset refund terms and arbiter basically saying, okay, look, your funds will stay in escrow, kind of limbo, and no dispute during the lockup period. Seller gets paid automatically or early with their signature. That's what I'm seeing with this. So
yeah,
they they had thought about this probably for a long time and probably said, okay, crypto's not going to be mass adopted in America for a long time, maybe, but then that got expedited because of the
yeah,
past election. Now they're saying, okay, we got to get this system in. I actually think this has to happen if we're going to have mainstream adoption. You don't have to use Circle as a
yeah.
payment, so you can go around it, but you also not going to get that protection there.
This kind of goes to the point though of like I gotta wait 3 days for my money. Like it's kind of the Kevin Hart thing where it's like I got money in my savings, but I gotta wait 3 days for it to get there. You know what I mean? It's like it kind of goes back to the normal banking way of waiting for your money. If you send me a payment and it goes through the arbitrator and I gotta wait 72 hours to receive it, then just wire me the money. Let's go to the old school routes, right? Like I don't know, but maybe this is more for B2B, right? Maybe this is more to if Amazon sends a payment to Google, maybe they want to go through an arbiter first. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and also, look, like I said, you don't have to use this payment service, right? So because
Yeah,
it's an option, um, in my opinion, I think if we do have the mass adoption, you'll start to see more and more people using this because of the protection, but you don't have to, right? You don't have
yeah,
to. And look, we talked about how like the EU, Europe they're going CBDC. They're not hiding that. Russia will probably do that, maybe China
yeah,
as well. And then the US is going into this capitalistic approach with stable coins, but still it's just like in a capitalist government or society, you have your winners, the big ones, and those are the ones that have eventually more control. So I think Circle
yeah.
is going to be that kind of banking style,
Yeah.
unfortunately,
I
but
I
it is
I
what
hope
it
it
is.
is optional. I hope it's not
Yeah.
something that gets adopted and we're forced to deal with all the time. But yeah, I mean, we can just send each other USDC, right? I mean, that's kind of how it works too. But let's get into that Bitcoin fear and greed here. So yesterday we were at a 30. Last week we were at a 25. A hint for you is we're a little bit higher. Not much has changed. We're a little bit higher than that 30 yesterday, about
Okay.
30%
32?
higher. Like it's
Oh,
pretty much
33? Yeah, okay.
33%. Yeah, we're sitting at 33 right now. Yeah, I'm kind of expecting us to kind of sit here through Easter and kind of get to Monday, and then we can start moving over here as well. But yeah, that's it. All right, let's kind of get into that Bitcoin price action here. Bitcoin price action is brought to you guys by Artura.finance. Artura, these guys are going to be launching on Hemi mainnet really soon. Really looking forward to that. But you guys can actually, by using Artura, actually farm the Hemi token. So we know that Hemi is backed by Binance. Binance potentially could have a token for Hemi listed on their exchange. Could be pretty big. And you guys can potentially get that by playing with Artura. We were talking to Landy last night. We'll put up that video on Sunday. And he was basically telling us, hey, go over there, put $10 on some low leverage and, just learn how to play. And that's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to get the Hemi airdrop. I want you guys to get the Artura airdrop. And I want you guys to play on Artura.finance when it launches.
Yep, man, that was a great conversation. So, guys, look out for that. Landy is definitely experienced, going all the way back to 16 years old. So that's going to be a good one for you guys. Learned a lot from him. But yeah, before we get into the Bitcoin price action, guys, if you could on the YouTube side, smash that like, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, guys, share this space. That helps us more than you know. It allows us to onboard new people to crypto and the Bitcoin ecosystem. And then on the abstract side, if you could share the stream, we would greatly appreciate it. I'm actually going to start off with the liquidation pockets chart because it looks like Bitcoin's trying to kind of do something here. All right, so let's take a look here. Where are the heavy liquidation, like where you can see it's really thick and more dark of that color, right? So you're starting to see some more build out here right above 81,000. There's another pocket here between 81 and 82. On the upside, you can see really kind of, I guess, to liquidate some shorts, it starts at like that 86,000, goes out to 80, 87. So remember, kind of 81 to 80, I would say right at 82 is that area. Okay. So I wanted to show that because it looks a little weird. Like Bitcoin is trying to pick a direction here on the hour chart. Okay, let me zoom in here. Okay, cool. So you can see we had some, uptrend here. We broke trend and started to, kind of go sideways here, right, with some chop. And then it looked like we were going to maybe possibly come out of this, right? Because if you see here, there was this uptrend starting from Tuesday, and we got up to 80, almost 85,000, right? But we're starting to see this downtrend happen, and we broke below the 50-day EMA on the hour chart. Okay, so right when we broke right above the oversold territory on the stochastic, it did do a U-turn and looks like it wants to head back down. Same thing on the MACD. You can see here it started to weaken, and it looked like we were going to come out, maybe start have a continuation of this uptrend, and it decided to turn around. You can see there's a big red candle on the MACD as well. So what does that tell me? That possibly we want a little bit more sell down. Maybe we've been hanging around 80, 84, 85,000 for the past 2-3 days. Time to pick a direction, and maybe they want to get to that pocket of 81.5 to 82 to liquidate some longs here. Just a theory. Don't listen to me. Do your own research. This is just information that I'm giving you guys. So I do expect, probably the second half of today for some more sell down. If this continues, we'll probably stay down here for a while. We haven't really been to oversold on the stochastic since Tuesday evening. So about 2.5 days. So we could try to grab that liquidity in that 81.5 to 82,000 mark and then head back up. We'll see what happens. So that's what I'm seeing for the hour chart, which is kind of that forecast of the next 4 or 5 hours. Let's go to the 4-hour chart here. So the 4-hour chart is telling me very much of the same information. You can see right here, looked like we were going to turn it around, maybe go into Saturday with some, strong price action, maybe try to get to that $87,000 mark, $88,000 mark, but it did do a U-turn here. Now it is pretty early. It's still 11:30 Eastern, so things can change. This can, reverse, but what I'm seeing here on the 4-hour, and it's based off of that shorter time frame, the hour chart, is that it does want to possibly head for that downtrend into the weekend. Now, liquidity shopping is something market makers and centralized exchanges want to do. And whenever you go sideways for a long time, they will try to grab it if enough builds up. And as you can see, there was a decent amount between 81.5 and 82,000. So yeah, probably heading, like I said, grabbing that range down there, maybe dancing around that 82 to 84 into Saturday, but not anything like super serious to worry about. For me, I actually expect stuff like this, grab liquidity, then kind of get back to that 83 to 85 range again, especially if we're going to go sideways for another week and a half, unless we have really good or bad headlines, right? And for the bad headlines, Bitcoin's been really strong for that. So I think we're going to be fine. So that's what I'm seeing kind of heading into the weekend, and we can reassess Sunday evening, but I'll be on a flight because I will be out of town next week. But, I'll always have my computer on me because I am addicted to checking the charts. And so we'll see kind of how things go Sunday evening starting next week. All right. And this is the weekly chart for Bitcoin. Oh, no, it's not. It's the hourly still. Let me pull this out right here. Reset this chart. There we go. Oh, I thought I had this already. My bad. All right. Okay. Weekly still looks safe. You can see here right? As long as we don't have any like horrible doomsday news and really dump here, do I expect us to drop back into the 50-day EMA channel? I actually expect us to, you know, how even you get to 82, maybe we touch like that top part of the channel, but you know, I could see us maybe wicking down and then bouncing back up. We'll see how it plays out. But, you know, Sunday is going to be interesting because let's say that we do have a sell down. We get to like 81.5 to 82. We hover around there for tomorrow. And then Sunday, you know, if we do have like, you know, a sell down, we could kind of end the week with a red candle in this channel. But like I said, I don't expect that. Even if we do, though, it's okay as long as we're in the channel and we're not ending the candle below it. That's the biggest thing to look at. You know, we get down here, it's trouble time if we end the candle here because we're talking about $72,000, and that to me is just not feasible. So I think we're fine. The chart looks good for now, for sure. And I expect us to be, you know, at least in the top part of this channel if we do see a little bit more sell down by Sunday. All right. And this is the weekly for, let's see, others right here. The others is everything outside of the top 10 and besides Bitcoin, right? So it's just going to really right now everything. And you can see if you trade in different ecosystems, maybe Tau and Tau subnets are kind of detached a little bit right now, but like everything else is kind of like, if it's alts or, you know, more risk on, it's waiting for Bitcoin. Nothing is, even like the runes that had a lot of momentum, they're not really moving up. They want to see that conviction from Bitcoin, that conviction move. To me, that's getting to 90,000. To me, I think that's like a strong move to 90, and then we'll start to see some of these others really respond to it. But the setup is looking better and better. You can see these indicators. The MACD is continually weakening. We just do need to see this blue line curl up, but it's going to be determined on Bitcoin's move. You know, something that I'm probably expecting maybe towards the end of next week. And then I know you're expecting it at the beginning of next week. So maybe it happens before my expectation, which I'd be happy for that. But yeah, we're sitting fine on the others as well. So last thing I'll show you guys is the crypto bubbles here. These are ranked number 1 through 100, right? So you can see this is I feel like this is pretty, I mean, this is, God, OM is still 90% down.
Well, it's 70 cents. I mean, it's still, you know,
yeah.
it's still
Did it go?
$7
Did it go
week.
in? Oh, last week. That's right. That's right. Okay, yeah. But so, you know, Radium here up 21%, probably off of the your favorite name. Yeah, your favorite name for the launch pad there. Launch Lab, Radium. This is definitely a good sign for Radium, though, I'll say. So some confidence there. Solana up 11.6%. So that's big.
Good week.
You see Hyperliquid up about 10%. Some notables on the other side. Fartcoin, first time to see them in a red bubble in a long time. I know it's the weekly, so last week they had a really good week, but you're seeing like Ondo, which is a strong RWA pullback this week. Crow, which has been consistently green, has pulled back about 2.5%. So it almost kind of seems like a little bit of a rotation in some of the other ones that had success last week, right? So yeah, so I think we're fine. Bitcoin is up 2.6%. You know, look, trucking along here from the previous week. So that's also another good sign there. So I think we're doing fine here, guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Great job, by the way. And then we're going to get into the roll call here. So if you guys don't know, roll call is something we do every single day, but we track the first comment of each show. And today it is our boy Danny, number 1. Congratulations, man. You are actually killing it. Danny this is his 3rd win of the week, bro. That is impressive for sure.
Is he the new Webdro?
He beat out Webdro. Webdro has 15. Danny has 18. I mean, he is just destroying it, bro. He is destroying it. Lucky Lukey got reaped a couple times this week, so he should probably be up here, but it is the Reaper game. It's the Reaper game, so it is what it is. But yeah, Danny is having a great month of April here, and yeah, he didn't have a great March, Danny, but he came back in April and started destroying stuff. Shout out to Danny boy. Lucky Lukey in that 2 spot. Shout out to Lucky Lukey. And then we have Danny boy again. PJNZ is here, and then Danny Boy and Nighthawk team up. We on. So shout out to those guys. And Nighthawk says, "Oh, okay, back to the old ways." GM, Danny got this. Yeah, man. Malam Erie, shout out to you, my friend. Deal or no deal, straight to the moon. 100%. Matt's Golden Danny. Yeah, Webdro comes in with a Danny Boy wins the week. Yes, he does. Danny Boy said, "Hi, y'all. Nighthawk is actually the winner. This guy hanging with Radamore and Butoshi." Yes, you see that? You see our boy Nighthawk driving around Aaron and Casey, which is pretty cool. So shout out to Nighthawk, man. IRL king right there. A Glasshopper is here. Mempool Punk is here. Chief Axel every single day. And then Mr. Sheedy, our guy, man. He's probably off from work today because this guy, he's out here grinding. He was on Zora this morning. Shout out to Mr. Sheedy. Nabob is here. Shout out to Nabob. Every day this week, Nabob. Really appreciate you, my friend. Cheedy here. Shout out to Cheedy in his blue suit. My man. Then we got Superfan hopping in every day at 11:01. My guy, Superfan, GM, my friend. Johnny Utah. It's been a while. It's been probably a week now. Shout out to you. Thank you for so much showing up today. Appreciate you, my friend. Malam Yuri says, just a polite reminder for a brief Tensor tutorial. So you're talking about Tau.
Subnets.
And yeah, we can definitely do that. Lackey Lucas says, hello guys. Mr. Sheedy says, my audio is rugging. Anyone else? I haven't seen anything. And then from my understanding, but then Chris Coffee, shout out to Chris Coffee. Thank you so much for coming in, man. Absolutely awesome to have you here. Really appreciate you giving us the time. Danny Boy says, GM, I want to let others catch up, but Lackey won't let up. Hey, you got to do what you got to do, man. You got to win. I'll never stop somebody from winning, man. And that's let up. I won't let up if I was you, honestly. I would just keep grinding, keep doing your thing, man. If you can win.
Yeah, it's a Bitcoin frog, man. Like, who doesn't want to win a Bitcoin frog? So,
and then you win it by winning the year. Like, it's not like an easy prize, right? Like that's accomplishment. That's everything, dude. And you got to remember, Danny was our second subscriber by like 40 seconds. I mean, pretty much one of our first subscribers. But shout out to Danny Boy, man. Love it, man. Absolutely love it for sure. So let's kind of get into the next thing here. We're gonna get into Fluid Friday. So our good friends over at Fluid have some pretty big announcements coming up here. Let's show. So right now they're over in San Francisco at the Draper University, actually doing really big things over there. So there's no vaults that are open, but just remember, guys, that your stake is what matters. So you have to remember you do have to claim these. So on Easter Day, 2 days, 8 hours. So it's looking like 9 p.m. Easter Day, Eastern time. You'll be able to unlock your Fluid passes and unlock your FLDT rune. So that's gonna be a big day for you guys, man. I really hope you guys I mean, you got the passes for free. All you have to do is make one trade. You got a free pass. You put it up there. You get the FLDT token for free. You get your pass back. It's not like you're selling anything, but shout out to you guys. And then Dog, this is going to be another 38 days away. I got $400,000 Dog. I'm getting like 20% APY on that. So shout out to Fluid there. But yeah, man. And then I want to show something really quick. So they have something, but I'm not allowed to show the address yet because it's not live yet, but I definitely want to show it anyway here. So this is it right here. So this is their airdrop tool. So right now there's not a clear way to airdrop, BRC20s and runes right now. But if you come over here, you'll see BRC20s are coming soon. But runes, right? All you got to do, you click runes, you'll come over here and you'll download a template. And the template is just a what is that, like a file that you can actually go in?
CSV file. Yeah, so okay. CSV file is a file format that works for like Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. So you can, utilize that and, just go to your Sheets, open file after you download this, and then you open it and you can start editing it if you are the, collection founder or the airdrop person. So it's really simple, actually. Eventually what we'll do is a step-by-step video on it once they have it ready.
Yeah, 100%. It should be fun. And right now they're having a little bit of issues with one rune. It's the one runes that's giving them the problem. Otherwise, this would be live. But you guys can see, you'll select the rune Dog. You said that like these numbers were coming up for you automatically, right?
Well, yeah, that's only if it's not in that drop down list, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
if it's you're trying to airdrop a rune that's not in that list and they don't have it pre-configured, so
Oh, you
you
just hit
would
your okay. You
exactly
continue. Okay.
you would have to manually put in the ID and then the other information for that second field, but
Yeah.
it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, man. Yeah, 100%, 100% here. And then we'll go check out their X account because they did actually have some really cool things going on. They get some images from Draper University and stuff like that. But guys, go check out fluidtokens.com. You guys can potentially get ready for the next dog staking. We did hear that's a rumor. We don't know for sure, but that would be really cool if they do another one of that, especially with the one ending in May. Fluid. But this is their X account here. But you can see that they are in Draper University. Shout out to Fluid. There's our boy. Where's Raul? There he is. Our boy Raul there. Shout out to you.
Yeah, you weren't sharing it, but I just added it.
Gotcha. All right, yeah. Shout out to this is the picture of the Draper Labs guys. I'm sorry, Draper University. Our boy Raul is right there. So shout out to all you guys, man. And then yeah, man. So yeah, I think this is the other one as well. But yeah, definitely check out Fluid Tokens, and that'll wrap up Fluid Friday.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, just learn about them. Not saying buy any type of assets or anything. We're not saying buy their token, but learn because these guys are building everywhere within. They've dominated Cardano. They're starting to really dominate Bitcoin layer one for the staking vaults. The only ones that I know of that offer it to projects and community. But now they're expanding, right? And being accepted into something like Draper University, which I know they're going to crush it there. They're going to have that on their resume as well, right? So these guys are going to be huge, in my opinion, in the future. They're going to be a staple. So just keep learning about them, if anything.
Yeah, 100%, man. Make sure you guys are following them on X. They have the two accounts here. This is the Cardano account, which is really kind of moving on to the other one as well. And then definitely check out everything here. Oh, here's the other photos and stuff. So yeah, they're actually chilling on the beach here. Shout out to these guys. But yeah, man. All right, let's kind of get into Zora. So Zora was something that got our attention this morning, really all week. So the basis for everyone thing was kind of a blessing in disguise for them because it rugged. It went up to 17 million, crashed down to 700K, and now slowly kind of grinding up here. I'm actually thinking about getting some base for everyone. It's at a $13.2 million market cap here, but this thing is if Zora takes off, this could be like the Zora token until they get a token. This could be like the way to get exposure to Zora right now. So I'm actually potentially thinking about getting a little bit of this. I don't know. It's not financial advice whatsoever. I might not. I'm just kind of looking at it. But you played on Zora today. Let's actually show your account here. Boy, Yagobi actually been messing around here. So what Zora is? You want to explain that? What exactly Zora is?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like the previous social media kind of intertwined social fire, whatever applications that we had going all the way back to late 2023. Actually, I forgot what they were called. One's called Friend something. Another one happened, and they like Friend Tech, and they kind of spur up and then they go away. This one, I feel like actually has a shot to kind of stick around, and not you're showing my stuff. There's gonna be a lot of people in here talking crap. Anyways, it's I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to have content creation, like be rewarded versus before is more like sharing and referring and getting your network bigger from the Friends Tech. This one is more of like, getting rewarded for your content. I don't know how it's going to play out though, because I feel like it's a hard concept, right? An example, right? Let's say that like, okay, for someone that does create content, let's say that they have their first post and their first post does well, but people are still in this mindset in crypto and crypto Twitter of what's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? Like,
Yeah.
how can I make money from this? How can I make money from this? They're looking at it as a quick flip, and you can tell. And so what they're doing is, like, for example, now they're back into you know, was it basis for everyone, because that was the initial. And I wish there was more context before that launch. I think like Base and Jesse Pollock definitely could have a way better job in terms of, hey, look, this is not a regular coin that's being launched. This is like a new innovative, like, cool thing. And maybe they did do that. People weren't paying attention. All they were doing was saying they rugged everybody, because this is definitely a different approach. I feel like if this does work, you're going to see a lot of Instagram accounts that have huge followings come over to this, or TikTokers that have huge followings come over to this, because then if people that create good, funny content that it gets rewarded and this mechanism and system works, then they can do well here. I just don't know if it's going to catch and stay. That's the problem, because people still have this mentality in our space of how can I make money from it? How can I make money from it? If I'm going to invest in this, I need to flip, and they want it now. Like, you see it. They want it now. They want to come in and out, and they're trying to dump and all these things. I just don't know if we can get rid of that with something like this. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, like first of all, I think the way that they got this out was genius. The pump and dump got us talking about it. Like, we are talking about this because of the pump and dump. We would have never found this if it wasn't for that pump and dump, right? Like, I'm personally, I would have not talked about it. I would not be on this site right now. It wouldn't have got the traction that it got without Base for Everyone going to 17 million and dropping down 900, which got our attention, which got people on. If that was planned, it was genius. It was absolutely genius. If it wasn't planned, then luck is awesome. They were definitely worked out. But yeah, and to your point, I don't think you need to go after TikTokers and YouTubers, right? But the guys who make content in crypto, this is going to be their playground. If you're creating content in crypto and you're not utilizing Base, first off, it's an easy way to connect your audience to your account. It's an easy way to just take stuff you're already doing and tokenizing it. Obviously, you're not going to want to sell anything, because that's going to go against everything, your name, right? You invest in other people's stuff, and then you can sell that. But for your own stuff, if you tokenize something, don't sell it. It's not a good look for you or your brand or anything. But it's cool to create stuff, and there is a benefit to creating stuff, right?
Yeah, I think there's a benefit, but I'm not
this
saying
number right here.
Yeah, I'm not
right?
saying go after. Yeah, I'm not saying go after those other people on IG and TikTok. I'm saying they will come after this if this becomes successful. You get what I'm saying? They'll say
they won't.
I guarantee you, if there's creators that are making six figures from this, they will come over, because they that's what they do for a living, and that's what they're best at. But that's only if this mechanism is a system of rewarding creators.
The reason why they won't come over is the Haksua girl and that whole situation, right? What happened with her? They don't want. They're already making money on TikTok. They're making money on Instagram and stuff like that. But but that's not saying new people without a following and maybe smaller followings will come here, right?
Yeah.
But I think those people are already going to have a crypto mindset. Like, I just can't see people without understanding crypto just jumping over here without a third party doing it for them.
Then I think that this is not going to work, and I'll tell you why. Is because, like, if it's just focused on crypto only and crypto content only, it's not going to work, because the people are still stuck in this mindset of, how can I make money from this thing? How can I make money? And that's it. That's all that matters. How can I make money? How can I make money? How can I make money? Which is why it dumps so hard, and then also why if you go look at the market caps and you go look at the top down, I mean, like, you have a big one there at like 11 million because it was literally launched by Base Chain. And then like number two is like maybe 1 million, and it drops off dramatically, 300,000. And then, so I don't know what their goal is, their end goal. If it's to reward content creators, then it has to be, the focus can't be on how can the community or people that are participating make so much money from everything. It's going to be how to reward content creators. And I just don't think our space on crypto Twitter can jump to that mindset without mass adoption coming from like the actual content creator like community. And so I don't know what their goal is, but
you have to remember there is a pretty big content creator community over here. Like, you have,
but it's all about Yeah, but it's all about crypto only. It's only about crypto. You know what I mean? That's it. It's like crypto, crypto,
Yeah.
crypto. And the other people the community consumes their content for their own, like, okay, how can I get an edge here? How can I, yes, they have their communities that might pay into subscriptions and stuff like that. But you get what I'm saying? It's not like an overall mass society adoption. And that's what like
But you
part
don't
of
need
trying
that
to
to be
do.
successful over here. Like you can be a crypto company
I do
and be
think
very
so.
successful. I think you're thinking too far out. You're thinking TikTok and Instagram. I just think they can be a top 10 DApp in crypto. Like I think that's good enough. I mean, if you can get up there and be if you can be on Pump Funds level, like you're not seeing like mass adoption of Pump Fund, but Pump Fund's the biggest money maker in crypto, right? But if they can
Yeah.
get into that level, I think they can be very successful with
Well,
creators like potentially like Rand and guys like what's that guy's name with the glasses? What's his name? He hates Cardano.
Nick.
No, well, Nick, well, Get Rich Nick as well, but like those kind of guys can utilize this. This is a tool for crypto users. This is a crypto tool for crypto users, in my opinion.
But what's going to end up happening is the same thing as the vape cabal, in my opinion. So
No,
like let's say
100%.
that like that does happen, what you said, because the circle is literally just crypto Twitter and these influencers. Eventually what's going to happen is like the influencers probably going to have to dump their tokens and all these things, because like that's the thing, is like how are they going to, yeah, they do have the
Well,
creator earnings.
Yeah,
The creator
that's the
earnings,
difference.
but we saw something just now, and $50 million of volume earns you $88,000, right? Some of these people can get that volume to like hundreds of millions probably, but very small percentage. And so they can earn mid six figures, maybe off of like one coin, which is big.
This is one
But
coin.
like, yeah,
Imagine
yeah. My
10,
point is
20.
that like, but if people are not winning, and that is the goal, is for community to win, because that's the reason why they keep falling for pump funds, because they're addicted to the casino. That's the problem. They're addicted to the casino, and they get tired of it after a while to where they can't win, and they need to point fingers. They start pointing at a vape cabal. They start pointing at this, that.
Yeah.
You can't have that same mechanism here, because you're gonna start like the influencers will back off and be like, I don't want to deal with this, just like Frank from D Gods and all these other people. There has to be more of a genuine type of mechanism for this to work, in my opinion.
Like you talk a lot about rare sats and collecting rare sats. Why can't someone put something out there and then make that collectible? Why can't collectibles come here and tokenize assets the same way? Why can't?
Because
I think
I think it's a little different, because it's more by association this way. If there's like one media post or something, then you have like, yeah, it's tokenized, so you have a percentage of it, versus like rare sats, you actually have those rare sats in your wallet. You have those early inscriptions in your wallet that no one, it's not part of it, you own it, right? And so yeah, the tokenization of something like this, we'll see. We've seen that happen in the NFT craze as well, and it didn't necessarily play out that well, but we'll see if it works. I'm just saying, I think for this to blow up and be a huge meta that sticks around, I think that it has to go mainstream. But it can have some success within our space, but I think it will die out.
Well, you got to remember too, we're kind of expecting a bull run, right? Like I'm not expecting this thing to be
changes things,
amazing for 5 years, right? But the next 3 years, this could be something a lot of people make a lot of money on. This could be one of the top dApps of this bull run, right? Because you're able, it's different. It's different. You can actually earn creator earnings. Like you don't need to dump your tokens on people when you're earning creator earnings, right? And if you have something funny and it's genuine, like you can potentially, and you're good at creating memes, this is a platform for you. And you don't need to make $1 million from this, but you can make a monthly salary from just being yourself, being genuine, and finding and creating ideas and finding good content.
I think that like you would have to be in like the top 5 to 8% of success in this platform for you to have like consistent income coming in from this. I think the top 3% are going to do very well with this if this takes off. Because you can see, back to
my point though, it's like a crypto banter, like the bigger YouTube channel. This is a product for them, and this is a product for their fans and their users, right? So this is kind of giving those content creators another source of revenue, another source of fun, another source of way to potentially give back to their community with airdrops and stuff like that with this stuff.
So I think that could be the case, but why are people going to put into, like, for example, like a video from Crypto Banter, right? He drops a video on here. That's going to be more like a tip, and because like they're going to put videos out every day, maybe. Eventually, the liquidity is going to run dry off of that. You can't, like, have like the $500 market cap content, like you're doing it every day. You know what I'm saying? And then people will come in and out. I think there's something enough here to continue this experiment, but I do think there needs to be like an engine driver that's like, I want it to be like what you're saying, because if, like, I think people that do put out genuine good content should be rewarded, but like with crypto Twitter's mindset, it's so much about like how much I can make as an individual that I don't think that it's going to work this way. Eventually, maybe that breaks, and I hope it does.
Yeah, but guys with, like, like Crypto Ran or whatever, he gets 40,000 views. Like for to get a couple $500 market caps where someone can buy it for a couple pennies, you go to $500, and then someone comes in, just like that video of that guy. He's like on a bench and he's like like that could, and that was like from like a crypto type of company. They could put that out in that video. Let's just say they play it every day. It's gonna be attraction every day. Right. And then it just becomes its own little thing. I'm not saying these are going to be, they need to be $1 million market caps, but $700,000 market caps are fine. Like, I just think that this is a nice way to tokenize content and tokenize potentially your viewership.
Yeah, 700,000 is gonna be tough to do consistently, but if you
Not a bull
can
market.
I think so. If you're just putting videos
Not
out
every
every day,
video, but like, let's say your top 9, right? Your top 10. I think easily.
but what's gonna
Someone with
distinguish those videos from the next? You know what I mean?
well, just like a meme. Like, why are some memes being used more than others? Is because people
Yeah.
like them.
So then, like, Crypto Banter's gonna have to strategize to put like maybe a funny clip out, and they're gonna have to do that every
No, you don't.
once
You
in
can
a
just
while and
you
hope.
go back to your original 9, your original 10. You don't need new content every day. You can put like 10 good ones out there, and it's up to you as a creator to make sure you're not oversaturating your market.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works.
Yeah.
I think we have to go more the mainstream way. I think you
It's
think
not gonna
more of
happen.
like more of the focus on like our space only, and we'll see how it goes, because I think it's fun to dabble with. You and I
Yeah.
had fun with it this morning. I mean,
Yeah.
we were joking, laughing, and stuff, and so it's interesting though, because I actually did think base kind of rugged everybody, but now looking back, is like, oh, they were experimenting with this.
It was, I don't know. I think it was kind of genius. It got, I mean, we're looking at it right now because of the rug, right?
Well,
That's
we
the
signed
only
up
reason
for it.
we signed up for it, was because of the rug. But guys, it is Friday, and every Friday we'd like to have our good friends over at Emblem Vault on. Emblem Vault is building many things, but they're really focused right now on Agent Hustle and the Agent Hustle's wallet, where you guys can potentially in the future do some really, really cool stuff. You can actually start playing with it right now. And we have Jake talk about some updates. I don't want to say anything that he's about to announce, but yeah, so right now you guys can go over to Agent Hustle. You can say Agent Hustle, go find me some of the best meme coins. He'll give you some suggestions. Probably a good idea to go after his first suggestion, because he's been flawless with his first suggestion of those tweet or those comments. So really looking forward to him growing and him really becoming the go-to platform for when you're buying and selling, man. You don't have to go to these exchanges no more. You contact your AI and you say, yo, let's do it. And it does it. But without further ado, let's bring in Jake. Jake, welcome back to OnChain Revolution. Thanks so much for being here.
Dude, happy Friday, guys. For anyone who tuned into the Hustle stream yesterday, you're up currently 2x on his first suggestion, which was Disney++, which was apparently a new, it's kind of funny.
New subscription? I'm just kidding.
Disney++. Yeah. So we started doing a new strategy where we're having him identify essentially what's the new meta of the last 48 hours.
Yeah.
And he said that tokenized media as meme coins was the new trend in the trenches because of the thing that was happening on base, the thing that you guys are talking about of tokenizing everything. And so it was like, there's already tons of derivatives and copies of this, so you should buy it. And so now it's up 2x from where we bought it.
That's awesome. Never fade the first pick. We
Never
learned
fade
that.
the yeah.
I'm curious,
Always.
I'm curious, as someone that's been in our space and that does both media and building, what's your perspective on Zora? Do you think this model will work? And if it works, what do they have to do to make it successful?
I mean, for me, try things. Like, I'm always a big supporter of it. I don't know if Jesse's messaging is completely right on this, to be honest. Because Coinbase is more of a, I guess you call it corporate chain, right? They're building for their Coinbase users, or something like Solana's kind of building more for, everybody kind of situation. The idea of tokenizing everything, I think it is an inevitability at some point. People are going to speculate. To me, it seems content coins are even deeper in the attention economy than meme coins. I put a post out yesterday, said trading meme coins is like trading the 1 minute chart. Trading content coins is like trading the 1 second chart. You get a full second, right? You get a full cycle in like a few minutes, apparently. To me, there's been a lot of pushback on it, from the community. Generally, if the community is pushing back on it, sometimes they're wrong. That happens pretty often. But I think it kind of makes Base look a little directionless. Like, to me, it makes them look like they don't know exactly what the chain is for, because they're kind of leaning into this content strategy that maybe is not the perfect fit for them, when they should be leaning more into applications that are being built on top of it. Zora is not just a Base application. They have it for everything. But overall, I'm open to the experimentation for it. If people want to trade, like, people can trade whatever the hell they want. I'm interested to kind of see where it evolves to. Zora's been on this tirade for months already. I remember people talking about tokenizing everything earlier this year, in like January. So, this is now has some eyes and attention on it, and people are going to now build on top of it if they find it interesting. Is it the right fit for Base specifically? Is it the right culture fit? I personally don't think so, because Base is seen more as kind of like a corporate chain. But, maybe they shoehorn it in. I think Jesse, though, is kind of not reading the room correctly from his point of view. And because he's forcing it through and most people are pushing back, to me, it just seems like it's going to end badly, maybe for Base, but it could end, it could be a more perfect situation on a different chain.
Yeah. I don't know if people know, but like Zora actually is a layer 2 themselves. So I wonder if like Base being integrated in here, like, maybe Zora has gone through like their incubation program, or maybe there's some sort of support outside of that, right? But I agree. I do think that it was kind of weird how Jesse handled the communication part of it. But let's say that like me and Shizzy kind of had a debate just now. I think for this to work, because I can see like maybe like, content creators not like dumping, because when you create content and you turn it into a coin, you automatically get 10 million supply, right? So you don't want to dump on people that actually are putting into this coin, right? Because that's a bad look. So they added the creator earnings side of it, which I think is a good thing. Yep. So you don't dump on them, you try to kind of promote. But do you think it would take like mainstream, like Instagram users? Because this is, to me, it has to be an image or video type of media. Then you can put description under. It's Instagram. To me, this is Instagram, except for, crypto. Do you think we need like Instagram people need to come here and adopt this eventually, and TikTok people, for it to have success? Or do you think it can have success just in crypto, Twitter, and that kind of mindset of a creator?
It's a good question. I mean, you can look at it in one way of just saying it's just taking the same playbook that Pump Fund's doing, where Pump Fund is tokenizing live streams, right? But instead they're tokenizing tweets or images or videos. So you could say it's kind of one of the same. It worked well for Pump Fund, but I think the culture there matches up pretty well. The thing is, like, I saw an interesting kind of back and forth conversation between, I think it was ICO Beast and Jesse, and ICO Beast had said something along the lines of, I have a hard time finding this to be, I have a hard time finding this to have longevity, because 99.9% of the content that's out there doesn't need to be valuable, or nor is valuable. He's basically saying, it's like fluff, like shit posting and stuff. And then Jesse responds and says, well, the 0.1% is. And so he's coming from the perspective that, hey, you could tokenize everything and you can speculate all of it, and that 0.1% is valuable. So essentially he's saying that it's also gambling, right? Because if there's 0.1% of content that can be tokenized and having value, you know, it's playing exactly the same exact pump fund playbook. They're just going about it in a different type of way. And, you know, I mean, Base needs something like that. They have Clinker. But I think for most creators, like, I don't know if I would want all of my content to be tokenized, because now you're putting this expectation on the creator, that essentially everything that they do is going to be financialized, and so that they have to be, you know, they
Almost
have
like
to
a value, almost like a stickers like put on them as a content creator and say, hey, this content has this kind of value for the content he's creating. And if you go back to like the TikToks and the Instagrams, it is a very small percentage, probably like 3% or less. I don't know. Obviously, I'm guessing a little bit on that. But for the ones that have like the 500,000, the million followers or, you know, subscribers, so it could play into that. You get what I'm saying? So like if you're that talented, then you're gonna have success on here or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, go Chiz.
No, I was gonna say I kind of I don't think it needs to be like this big thing. Like I just see that, like, you know, like Dog Whiff and stuff like that came from Pump Fun, and you can see like really good
Ansem
memes
though.
being. What's up?
Ansem
Huh?
though.
Ansem was
Ansem.
nobody before Dog Whiff. Dog Whiff and Ansem kind of grew together.
I
So
wouldn't say he was a nobody. He had a big account last cycle, but he
like
definitely
40,000.
became
But
popularized through
yeah.
the meme coin era.
But I'm just saying, someone like him, right, who creates a really cool meme, like, just for instance, like the guy like playing on the drums, like dee da do da da, like that type of stuff. That's a meme. That's a generational meme, right? Like you see that everywhere. Like, you know, if you can find 15, 20 of those in you know, in all this, then I think they could be really worth it. I think you could find $20 billion content, you know, like 20 of them. I do in the future, in the next like year, 2 years, in a bull run, where you're kind of seeing people like vote on memes.
You know, it's meme coins on steroids at this point. I stand pretty firm in the idea that, you know, if you're going to trade stuff on Pump Fund, then you're trading the 1 minute chart. Here it's the 1 second chart. The life cycle is going to be much faster, because this content creator, like for myself, you know, I'm putting 30, 40 tweets out a day. So if every single thing is being, you know, being financialized, then most likely the content is only going to exist until the next tweet before it goes to zero.
Well, you just wouldn't oversaturate yourself, right? You maybe put out one.
That could be a strategy, oversaturation.
Yeah, but why should I change my content strategy because the rest of the internet decides to financialize my content?
No.
Like, why should I care?
You keep doing it. I'm just saying, you yourself, because like you have to hook your Twitter up to this, right? So when you post, you're coming from the official Jake Galen, right? You're coming from the, you know, the official Emblem Vault account, and that way maybe you just don't overset. Maybe you put your bet, like you find a runner, you find something on YouTube that, you know, that's done really well, and that's the one you tokenize, right? Like that's the one you add to Zora.
Yeah, you know, I think small creators is probably good for small creators or people to you know, experiment with. If you're a larger account or you've built your social reputation over many years, it's a high risk to participate in something like this, because you can lose all of that social capital that you've built for years in literally seconds by doing this, because of that expectation. This is why I've never posted, like launched a personal meme coin. Doing this is even riskier from my perspective, but for newer people, you know, it could be a nice launch pad. The thing I want to see play out is the expectation between the community and the person creating content, whether it's a video or a tweet or whatever it is. If the culture within the first, we'll say 6 months or so, is that there is no expectation, or there's minimal expectation on the creator in terms of supporting the content, and it just becomes more of just like a you know, a speculative merry-go-round of, hey, they're just waiting for the content creator to post the next tweet, and then they just kind of continue to trade and speculate on that, then, you know, that's fine. But if there is this idea of the community wanting the content creator to post less because they want to trade, you know, more on that piece of content for longer and stuff like that, then I think it just becomes, you know, it becomes a non-factor for larger accounts, and it'll only be people who are probably creating newer accounts. So I'm personally sitting out of it for a while to see kind of what happens, but I do think it's interesting, and I do support, I generally default to the libertarian view for most things, especially in crypto, where it's, hey, if the market wants it, then the market will definitely show it, whether it's through the social aspect or through kind of, with their dollars. So Base wants to support it. I think it's a high risk for Base to basically put their entire chain's reputation behind this, because they've been basically, a corporate chain. But
Yeah.
I don't operate Base, and if the community wants something to do, then hey, go for it.
We saw also Friendtech though. They did the same thing with Friendtech. Friendtech was very similar to this.
Yeah, Friendtech was a Base application specifically, right? It was specifically there. It to me, again, it just feels like, hey, if Base wants to tokenize everything, why don't you tokenize your chain? Well, Base doesn't have a token. Like, you want to tokenize everything, there's no Base token. What the fuck? Like, it seems completely
because they have a ton of Ethereum. That's why they want.
It's like it's off-brand messaging. Hey, let's tokenize everything, but the actual chain itself, like,
well, they're tokenizing their coin stock. They're going to be bringing that over, and you're going to be able to trade. That's going to be like their coin. It's going to be a tokenized stock.
I get that. It's just, you're doing this completely crypto native thing, but at the end of the day, you still haven't even tokenized the thing that everybody wants, which is the chain. Yeah. So to me, it just seems like it's kind of counterintuitive. The stock is not the chain. I mean, it's
you don't think so?
I mean, not you could be waiting 3-4 years for that to happen, right? I mean, Securitize is happening. Their branding and messaging is now. Hey, let's tokenize everything right now. Right now, let's do it. Everything, every tweet, every whatever. But you guys have to wait for us to tokenize the actual chain. To me, it seems counterintuitive on the messaging standpoint. But the actual idea and the product, hey, dude, go for it. Have fun.
I can see two successful routes here. So the one that, like Shizzy's talking about, don't oversaturate. So someone drops like badass like media clip or something, or unreleased special song or something, artist, and then it does well. It goes to like $200 million market cap, and then they don't post for a long time, and then you hear rumors they're about to release something. People are going to be waiting, like, when is that going to come out? When's that going to come out? So that could happen. And the other route, which is the opposite, is I can see AIs getting really, like, pushing content that's solid but volume, and then like their earners and several different AIs and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting where this goes, but appreciate your feedback on it, because you definitely are somebody that the community respects in terms of your experience here and stuff. So
I didn't even think about that. That was a really good point of like song creators. They dropping their song on this, right? And then as a user, if you're bullish on that that artist for whatever reason, you think he's going to blow up, that first song that he posted on here, you could do really, really, really well, especially if it gets to mainstream.
Yeah, but then it's not, the person who's tokenizing it is probably not the artist himself. It's probably somebody, who's observing it. If you kind of have some, early pretense to this, like the banker community has been kind of doing this for a few weeks now, right? Where anybody posts a piece of content and then they comment underneath and it says, hey, banker bot deploy, and then it says this ticker for whatever the piece of content is. I haven't seen any of those do successful long term, to be honest. And there's probably about a month or two of market data.
I think it's different though when it's coming from the official account. Like this becomes a new SoundCloud, right? Where people are uploading music and it's coming from the official Twitter account.
I do get that, but you also have this like from the other side of it. So think of it like this: if I create a new song and I'm not ready to tokenize it yet because, I have a larger strategy. I want to do some sort of utility, right? Or I have some sort of like, legal work that's in it. If I don't do it immediately, then somebody else is going to do it because there's.
It doesn't matter though, because it's not the official. To me, that's just.
But there's a meme coin attached to it, so people are going to trade it. People will definitely get wrecked, and then people will be burned by it, and they'll never purchase it.
Yeah, but then you just don't put it out until it's ready. You don't gotta like, just don't release it. Just don't, if it does get hacked from your computer or released before it's ready, then just don't tokenize it yourself, right?
Yeah, I just think it just adds it adds a lot more formality to releasing anything now. Like a lot of the
it changes that for sure.
Yeah.
a lot of the creativity behind creators is just, free flowing and just posting content or, doing a freestyle on demand and recording it. And, kind of takes a little bit of that away because again, I think it all comes down to how the community expects it from the creator. If there's a culture that's formed, and it'll be very important over the next 6 months, if the people who are participating in this community decide that the creators can post whatever they want, there's no expectation, there's no pushback, and you could be as creative and free flowing as you want, then I think it's a positive. But if there's this expectation that, hey, the creator has to participate in this chart for every single thing that they launch, it now takes energy away, from the creator. You're posting less. You have to think about it more consciously. And I think it just ruins, everything that's participating in it. So I do think the next 6 months are really important for it.
Well, you can still post on X as much as you want. Just don't tokenize that everything. Just tokenize.
But the thing is, like,
stuff that
you're
truly
not.
believe in.
The thing though is, like, you are probably not going to tokenize it, but somebody else is going to tokenize it now because there's this new idea of tokenizing everything. Right. It's this like idea of Ansem, for example, right? Ansem tweets out a ticker, even if he's just talking about it. Now everyone expects him to basically shill the ticker forever and talk about it. Right. So like, this is why you've kind of seen early hints at this where it's like during the meme coin era, people who would just talk about tokens because they thought it was interesting stopped completely shilling tickers and talking about it because now there's this expectation. Oh, Ansem talked about this ticker. Now he has to literally shill it into oblivion. Once he stops talking about it, it goes to zero. Now the community's mad because he stopped talking about it, right? It's almost kind of same situation, but it's from the creator side of things now instead of from the kind of like speculative side. But again, I think for me, it just comes down to how the community looks at it over the next 6 months or so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great conversation too, right? Like I really enjoyed this. So yeah, it's back the opinions of all three of us. But yeah, man.
Awesome. So you said that you had a live stream last night with the Hustle live stream, which you guys have been definitely ramping up, and I think it's been educational for sure. So very useful. Last night there was a winner off of that first pick. Are we starting to say that first pick's probably like a 70-80% guarantee there? I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna put you on that, but
he's still up from it. I mean, from what we've learned is he's definitely great at finding trends, and his first suggestions are usually kind of like the early stages of identifying a potential runner. So we're still building kind of new strategies around it, but he's really good at it. If you don't like those first few, as long as you have the strategy right, he generally tends to be right for at least a few multiples on that. And people are definitely using it, and we're building strategies to kind of save it around that idea. So, I think that's the stage that he's at. We have some new tools that we're going to be coming out with here shortly to kind of support that thesis and see where we can take it. But it just, every stream we do just increasingly makes me more confident that AI is just going to change everything in this industry. To me, it just seems inevitable at this point.
Yeah. And the efficiency as time goes on, in my opinion, that's just obvious that it'll get better and better. But one thing that we talked about when you guys had us on Tuesday for the Hustle live stream was, Shizzy kind of just off the cuff came up with this idea of copy prompting, right? And so let's say that like a prompt is successful to where his efficiency is hitting on that first two suggestions. Do you see that being a big thing? Have you talked to your team? Is that a serious like possible integration, or what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, so Shannon actually was really fond of the idea of copy prompting. There's this ongoing discussion of, and I've seen this with other people on my timeline as well, this idea of ZK prompts and this idea of, the futures definitely, are going to be built around the prompt, whether you're tokenizing the prompt or whether you're doing some sort of ZK portion to it or some sort of gambling app around it. Like, show me the prompt is going to be the new, what's the CA, which was before it was what NFTs are sweeping. Like, that's definitely going to be where all of the alpha is. The issue becomes, and this is something that's probably $1 billion idea to solve, is how do you, the person who creates the prompt, how do you ensure that they're rewarded? But then also, how do you ensure that they're not ripped off? Because if you know what the prompt is, then, you just go use it in your own kind of context, and you can just, reap the same rewards without ensuring that it doesn't go back to, the original creator there. So
Tokenize it.
tokenize it,
And
tokenize the prompt.
yeah, but you wouldn't need to, because like, I mean, that I don't think that's a good idea, because then people just
No, I
see
don't
it. but
Right.
but like an incentive driving factor, I agree. Like maybe if you guys, because maybe you give it up to the user if they want to release it or not, and then some sort of incentive mechanism. But would that make sense either?
Yeah, so we've been building on the idea. Actually, yesterday, Adam and I were talking about creating some sort of, and we'll just call it a fun mini app within the platform, where basically people could just click buttons inside of it, based off of either prompts that people submitted or, strategies that Hustle creates on his own, where a user can have 3 buttons in this mini app. I'll use this as an example. One will say beginner, or you could just say like easy, medium, aggressive, or something like that, right? And with this aggressive button, it says something like, hey, your chance of winning is between 5% and 10%, or something like that. And then on the back end, there's 50 prompts that are kind of randomized in some way, and the user basically just clicks the button. So that you're getting a prompt that has, a slight chance of winning. It's a more aggressive, right? You're going for like the 5x or something like that, but you're not continually using the same one, and you're randomizing it to a point to where the user has fun and has fun doing this. Like, it's a form of entertainment, and they have no problem sitting there and clicking buttons, and instead of trying to rip off the prompt and try to apply it to their own strategy.
What about the idea of submitting your prompt? Let's say you're making money on a prompt, you submit it, and then MLVault rewards and it goes to a system, and MLVault rewards the top 3 prompts of that week. So every week, right? Every week, like if you're the most used prompt, you win that tensor or that reward that's coming from the fees or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're directionally right. Another idea we talked about last week was this idea of creating a strategy mini app, where inside of this, users could submit their own strategies that they've created with Hustle, and users could come in and use that, excuse me, and select it. And the person who submitted it gets, 0.2% or 0.3% of the trading fees or something like that, right? But it still runs into this issue, excuse me, of once the user sees what the prompt is, they could basically just copy it and then use it on their own, right? So it's not perpetual, right? You say, okay, this one time I'll pay, whatever the fee is to the creator, but now I've seen the LLM go through the entire process, and it's logic behind it, and now I can just kind of apply it to myself.
What if it was just like vague, like you give the person that submits it like a vague one-liner of what the strategy is, and then you hide the actual like strategy, but the person that uses that specific application agrees to not being able to see it. I know that that's a lot. And
this is where you get into like the zero knowledge prompts, right? Where it's like, okay, you can build this strategy of allowing users to submit prompts. You'd probably have to classify them in some sort of way. Or maybe you just put the title there, right? So like the one that we found yesterday, we were calling it, I think Hustle called it the trend identification strategy or something like that, right? And I told him to save it into his memory, but I also said allow anybody else to use this if they want to. Some other people save it and they say to keep it private. So you could create this strategy. I would say, hey, upload this strategy to the strategy mini app, and within there the user will see it says trend identification, right, or whatever it is. And I think on our end, then if you wanted to do some sort of like anonymized or private version of it. Basically, once a user clicks it, that prompt has to be essentially blurred out, and the response has to be blurred out for at least kind of the first few rebuttals back and forth, or you have to get it down to where it's automatically executed in the first kind of response, and then the user has the token. And but then this gets back to, why don't you just have 3 buttons that a user clicks with the aggressives, right? And then they don't even have to know the prompt. They just kind of end up with a token based off of some sort of strategy, which I think there is some legitimacy there, and there probably is some sort of business model. It's kind of just working through it. But at the end of the day, I think people, we're kind of comparing it yesterday to the "I'm feeling lucky" button that was on Google for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Right, where it's just like, hey, I'm feeling lucky, hustle, give me a token, right? And you just kind of put the percentages on what the win strategy is. And if you ended with that, yeah, if you ended up with it, you're just like, hey, AI's doing it, fuck it, just give me a token, right?
I would do it right now. Like, yo,
Yeah.
$9. I'm feeling lucky. Like,
That's what I'm saying, right? So I think we will pursue something like this. Basically, from where we are in a builder standpoint, we're building directionally there. We could probably be there in like a few months, maybe less. So by the end of this weekend, we'll have order limits live. We'll have DCA live. We'll have there's like 10 to 15 different UX updates that we have, as well as actually right before this call, I was able to launch a Pump Fund token through Agent Hustle. So you'll also be able to launch Pump Fund tokens. So that these are all coming up into the next update. And then next week, we're starting the beginning stages of our automated trader from the, I guess you would say from the infrastructure standpoint. There's kind of 2 models to it. You have the AI, and then obviously you have like the kind of backend infrastructure. So we're going to be, next thing we're working on is copy trader, which we talked about during our stream, which is cool, right? Because you can use Agent Hustle. If he's great at identifying trends and tokens, he's definitely going to be great at identifying what are the best wallets that are the most profitable. So you just say, hey, what are the most profitable tokens trading Fartcoin, right? And so then you could find the whales of Fartcoin, and then you just kind of copy their wallets, right? But this backend infrastructure for copy trader, you actually have to have like a database and stuff like that. So then that actually builds towards the automated trading system that we're doing. So we've built the automated trading system for the AI. You just have to build kind of the back end infrastructure for it as well and pair it together. And then once you have the automated trading stuff live, then we're able to do this type of like strategies, because then we have the database to store all the prompts. We have Hustle, who's building strategies with the users. And then we can build this kind of like gamified version of it with buttons and feeling lucky and stuff like that. So it seems like we're kind of building towards what the users want. And this seems to be directionally what the users want, is just more, automation, more automation. And then eventually more, I guess, simplicity of, hey, $10, buy me a token, whatever, using whatever the aggressive strategy is of the day, and just kind of do that.
If Tensor gets, if Hustle gets like efficient in what's about to come, I mean, it's gonna be so game changing, because this is exactly how I do my day. I wake up, drink some coffee, sit at my desk, be like, Hustle, let's work. And I'd be like, all right, I want a top 10 whale wallet from Fartcoin that has the most volume across multiple coins. Follow his plays. I'm gonna give you $1,000 or whatever. Follow that wallet's plays, but I want to clip at 30% profit on each play that he's in, early enough to where like he'll be safe. My day's done. My day of work is done at that point, right?
Yep.
Like,
And then and then you could save that and call it the Fartcoin whale strategy, and then you can upload it to the strategies mini app, and then you can make profits off of that, because then somebody else will get the same strategy, right? If you're combining everything that we're talking about.
And that could work, right? What I just explained, like if you get the database and the automation together and all that.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, it sounds like something we should be able to do. Obviously, we've talked about this many times, right? Obviously, in practice, once the developers are on it, generally takes a little bit longer than expected, or there's some sort of hurdle. Other times, it goes a lot more smooth. But this is, I think, directionally where we want to go. And I think for most people, the simplicity of it, of just having this type of tooling that Wall Street's had for decades and developers in crypto have had for a decade or so, now it's even the playing field.
Love it.
Wow, yeah. What I had an idea day, like what about potentially like having Hustle buy me the first coin created after 420? Let's just say like
Interesting.
420 that afternoon, just buy the first coin of that day and potentially like that becomes a meta, right? To where like that first coin and everyone's just trying to get that first coin that's launched that day. Is that something Hustle could potentially do and do for me? Like if I've wanted the, a coin, say I wanted to launch that coin right at 420.00. Can Hustle do that for me?
Once we get the copy trader stuff live and there's a database, then you basically, you store in essentially this execution. I think you would also need, I do believe he has access to the world clock. So he would have to ping to a world clock and then he would
that be a
monitor.
good strategy though? I feel like that wouldn't be a good strategy because there's so many coins that launch all the time that like there's a low percentage that coin would be successful.
Well, I just use 420 as like something, but I'm thinking more of the lines of like
related to something
like New Year's Eve, right? Or
with
a
momentum
time of
or
day. Yeah, like the first coin launched on Easter. The first coin launched on. I just think that the first meta is going to be bigger than people think, and I think if maybe that's coming from a Bitcoiner, right? But at the same time, because first is first. But at the same time, I just think that potentially down the line, I think the time that these coins are launched could be something.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible.
Yeah, I think you would have to add some variables in there though, because like if you were just say the first coin to launch at that time, unless you're telling him to launch it and name it this or something, that's different. But because you have no control and you have a bunch of people like engineers from like India, China, like they're just launching left and right. Then he's going to get into this coin that's right at that time on New Year's Day, and it's going to be a rug.
Yep.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a rug. If you're planning for it, then you know what I mean? If you're planning for it to be a specific time, you could potentially get it at that exact time. Like these guys in India are not really worried about that unless they get on the meta. I'm just thinking in the lines of, can this be something that's possible?
I mean, all of it sounds great in theory. I do think like a lot of the metas are going to change over the next year or two. Once everyone has access to this and kind of realizes what's going on. I was on a podcast the other day kind of talking about this kind of similar idea of, it sounds, great in theory. Oh my God, everyone has this tooling. Everything's going to be automated, right? This intelligence layer is going to take over. It could happen in 3 months. It could happen in 3 years. I'm more under the opinion that probably over the next year or so, most people will be using AI in some capacity. Whether it's, just to get intelligence information, like for analytics, or whether it's actually for trading or launching tokens or creating, like, for example, this Disney Plus token that we bought yesterday, they have a full website. They have all these different kind of filters and stuff. And you're like, this was definitely created by AI, but to the point where people are buying it because they're like, I don't give a fuck. It looks like if it was created by AI, because this looks awesome, right? This is like a great kind of meme and it hits the strategies and everything. So things are going to get built out much faster for projects. Trading is going to get much faster, but it all comes down to your creativity and how you kind of understand, what's going on. Like we have 500 or 600 weekly active users. I could look here while you guys talk next, but this could be 6,000 or 60,000 a year from now. Who really knows? But there's this edge that a handful of people in the industry have right now.
How many weekly do you have right now?
Let me refresh it right now.
I think you said around 5.
Yeah.
So there was 750 visitors in this last week. The average session duration is 18 minutes, and there was 7,600 page views. So it looks like the average
really
users,
good.
So the average user is coming to the website 10 times per week, and they're hanging on around and using them for almost 20 minutes at a time.
Wow.
Such early stage too, honestly. Like, so if your numbers are there and it's kind of like a beta release is what we're going through. Once you have all the other stuff, like, tightened up, I can see those numbers jumping drastically.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is
Once
one
we
of the
once we
slowest
get
times in crypto.
dude, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, we're doing these like hustle live streams when there's like no liquidity in the market, right? You can only imagine once there's liquidity and everyone's buying the same token, the AI is shilling the same token, right? You could see this like definitely extrapolating and making these coins go up really, really high because of the source. Because all an AI is doing, it's just reading information. So
Yeah.
if this AI is, shilling Disney plus to everybody, then obviously it's right. If more people are going to buy it, and because you have this kind of like positive flywheel effect where it's like it's just reading data, so it's giving data, and then if more people are buying it, then it's just going to keep suggesting it more and more. Obviously that could end up really bad for most people, and probably will. But if you automate it, then you don't have to worry about kind of the exit strategy. You just say, hey, leave it 10%, leave it 50%, or whatever the case is. We will be changing our business model most likely next month at some point. So like the automated trading strategy will be behind some sort of paywall or token gate. Tensor will be involved in some capacity in the platform. We're still kind of exploring all of it at this point in time. There's always this like give or take with tokens where it's like, if you token gate things, then you definitely, you exclude a lot of people who don't want to have to go buy the token to go use it, right? But then obviously if you don't include the token in some capacity, then the value doesn't go up, right? And people are upset, and those are kind of your like early believers. So you have to kind of try to find this equilibrium. Generally, the best tokenomics kind of evolve over multiple years of strategy, where most people who bought a token on Pump Fund want it in days. So there's a lot of this kind of counterbalance to see how it goes. But I think we do have a pretty firm idea of what's going on. And as of recently, we've actually had a handful of teams reach out to us about whitelisting Agent Hustle or creating a white label where they just basically want to build Agent Hustle into their own platform. So we've started exploring that over the last week or two. Some of these people being actually quite large platforms. So there's a potential B2B side to this as well. So kind of exploring everything at this time.
Teams don't need to go out and build their own to have it on their website, right? Let's just say a normal project, like let's just say, I don't know, CoinMarketCap. If you can have, put, Agent Hustle in there, and then you go there and say, hey, buy me the top 10 coins that have the most value and stuff like that, right on CoinMarketCap's website. I mean, this is definitely a B2B product for sure. Yeah,
the goal is, and we've talked about this internally many times, and I've talked about it ad nauseum in public, that there's 3 DeFi or crypto products that come to mind who were essentially this like universal product that no matter how bad or how many users leave their kind of front-facing retail product, they still will never disappear. And the 3 products are Chainlink, Uniswap, and OpenSea. And the reason why is Chainlink is the Oracle, right? They basically people ping off of their Oracle to get all this information, or they use their Oracle infrastructure to build it into their own product. No matter how bad the token does of Chainlink, no matter how bad the actual website of Chainlink is, everyone's using their product on the B2B side. They're never going to go away. Yeah. Uniswap's the same situation. People are leaving, people are building their own, swapping platforms, but what everyone's using is the Uniswap router, which is aggregating all of the information. So even if people leave to go to Uniswap, or people leave Uniswap to go to Sushi or whatever these aggregators are, they're all using the router of Uniswap, right? Same thing with Jupiter on the Solana side of things. And then with OpenSea, they built Seaport. Seaport is basically the order book for NFTs. And Blair uses Seaport, Magic Eden uses Seaport. Every NFT marketplaces uses Seaport. And so no matter how much people go and say OpenSea's dead, Magic Eden's winning, Magic Eden is using Seaport for all their EVM stuff, right? At least from my understanding. So they're just like, it doesn't really matter. They're so integral. And I do think there is a play here for AI where it's, if you can be the quote unquote AI router or whatever the name is, if you build a superior AI, that can integrate with crypto and any product, and platforms have the ability to just basically plug in, then you can win. And it doesn't matter if people use Agent Hustle, because everyone's using Agent Hustle in some capacity. What we have, which I think is attractive to a lot of people who've reached out, is because Agent Hustle is built on top of Emblem, using our APIs, which will be available probably in the next week or so, and the SDK that's being rebuilt. You basically get our wallets, our multi-chain wallet, which is a Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana wallet, and Agent Hustle inside of it. So you don't even have to have the wallet infrastructure or the AI infrastructure. You just plug it all into whatever you want, and you build the front end experience around it. So it works for Bitcoin products, Solana products, and Ethereum products as well. So I think there's a big play there, and we're definitely exploring it. And we were actually already rebuilding our SDK while people started reaching out. So to see that in practice will be great. But obviously, Agent Hustle will be where all of our new products are released, where the token is utilized. But it'll be interesting to see, if this B2B side of thing is successful. You can have anybody. Like, I was just talking with I was on the Block Runner show yesterday. They were asking how to use Agent Hustle for DMT and for, into kind of their products. And so another team that's reached out is a private trading group, which trades across all chains. But they're like, if we can is it possible to integrate Agent Hustle into our infrastructure to give our traders an edge, right? And another one is a swap platform, where they're like, hey, can I make Agent Hustle a companion for our swap platform and give recommendations for people to swap, or even just give different types of information? So kind of last point here is what I see happening is there's probably a 6-month window remaining for people to build these generalized DeFi AI platforms, things like Agent Hustle, Hanon, Wayfinder, Griffin, Banker. After that, I think the network effects take off, and the only thing left really is to build your own kind of native AI companion. So I saw like Alex Labs yesterday announced that they have an AI companion. Magic Eden's building an AI companion. Robinhood's building an AI companion, and Mintify also built an AI companion, right? And those are just native ones within their own platform to build the user experience. And then the remainder kind of generalized ones will compete on this kind of business to business side of things. And that to me seems to be where this is headed.
Yeah, I agree. But like having an AI companion, and then having someone like Shannon, for instance, right? Like how many teams actually have somebody who's been working in AI for 12, 15 years, or even more than that? And do you think a lot of these teams are going to be successful? And you understand how hard it is to do this?
I do. I think the industry for DeFi AI is very large. I mean, I look at it as the Telegram bot services on steroids, and Telegram bots made 1.2 billion in fees last year, and the market cap of those, right, BonkBot and Photon and all of these businesses is quite large. You basically have that service, but on top of it, you have an AI that can, for example, you can actually code with Agent Hustle, and somebody's actually somebody's building an app on top of Agent Hustle using just Agent Hustle to code, actually. So you get this like amplification effect where either these products consume the Telegram bot business, or the Telegram bot business merges with it some capacity, or they try to compete in their own way. But I hate to put a number on things because it's really tough to know how these things are valued. But easily, a 10 billion or more business within the next few years, just based off of the acceleration of development that's happening and the interest. And I'm just happy that we're one of the first 6 or 7 teams who are really kind of building in this, because you kind of put your flag down and get to compete against the rest. And I think everyone here has a chance to succeed. There's probably room for a few more as well, because there's still so many ideas and opportunities that have yet to be explored. I mean, Banker came in a few months ago and really just showcased this idea of SocialFi trading. And, whether you consider that something that's going to be here forever, or it's a novelty, or whatever it is, like, there's probably, at least a dozen or so of these type of opportunities. Like we haven't even got into agent to agent technology, which I think is what AI 16Z is pursuing, at least from what I've seen in their recent content.
Yeah, man. And then agent to agent, and then they switch to that that language that we don't know, where it just sounds like gibberish, and they're sitting there talking. But yeah, man, that's scary. That's just scary.
It's gonna be fun, honestly. I mean, everyone will have a companion. It'll make what I've seen with like developers is that at least for our team, all 4 developers that we have all use AI in some capacity, and it just makes them infinitely better. It's like they're able to get more production done. They're able to be a little bit more creative. And so I don't think like AI will replace them. It just makes, the output better. Obviously there's a few different, I guess you'd say consequences that have come from that in terms of like vibe coding and, exploits and things like that. But I think the same thing is for all crypto participants, whether you're a builder or you're an artist creator or you're a trader or you're a content creator, like you'll be able to use it in some capacity for your skills. Like for you guys, you sit and talk about crypto all day and you have all these different types of sponsorships and partnerships. And so having a companion where you can take that information and then apply it on chain in a unique way to where you can still continue to just keep gathering more off-chain information and then apply it to it on-chain, to me is just like a no-brainer. This is how most people will be using it here over the next year or so.
Super exciting stuff, man. The last thing I guess I'll ask you on is how close are you guys in terms of the vaulting and being able to jump ordinals?
Yeah, dude. Oh man, I wish this was live already on Pain. Man, yeah, deving is hard. So we
100%.
are rebuilding the SDK. It was supposed to be done by Wednesday. Development team hit a little bit of delays, so it sounds like they're a few days behind. First collection we're actually doing is Taproot Wizards on ETH mainnet. For Gandhi. Gandhi wants to list Taproot Wizards. They're the #1 lending platform on ETH. They actually have about 3% of all punks inside of active loans right now. It's over 300 punks. They have X copies and all stuff. And they said they've been getting a ton of requests for Taproot Wizards. And so they have Rare Pepe and stuff listed on there. So we have a good relationship. So Taproot Wizards on ETH mainnet, and then on Base, we're doing a few ETH subscription collections because their whole community is kind of falling apart, and they want to all move over to Base. And then from there, we'll be adding support for most Ordinal collections to Base, as well as Abstract and Merlin as well. And we'll see. We're also building support for Solana. It takes a little bit longer because it's kind of different architecture, but yeah, hopefully soon. I mean, I know I've been saying this for months. I mean, Emblem 2.0 has been in development for almost 2 years at this point. But we've completed our audit. The SDK just had to be rebuilt. And then once the SDK is done, bulk minting will be live. So you'll be able to, mint 25 Rare Pepe vaults in a single one, or, mint 25 Taproot Wizard vaults or whatever it is in a single transaction, which is nice. And then we'll be on Base. And and then we have another nice little surprise for an application that'll come probably a few months down the road that I think will encourage people to move their NFTs across chain, because that's one issue. You see kind of with Magic Eden is that they don't want you to move your assets across chain. They just want you to move your fungible tokens across chain, right? Their whole idea is they have 10 different native marketplaces where you can just use any token to purchase. Whereas OpenSea just came out recently where you can mint any NFT with any token, right? So they're kind of going this opposite direction. So we do have a little bit of a challenge in terms of, encouraging people to do these different types of things. And the best way through that is through gamification and chain abstraction. I think we have like kind of a novel idea on how to do that. But we're excited for the challenge nonetheless. I still think that like NFTs across chain seems to be the easiest kind of no-brain layup. Obviously the infrastructure is infinitely difficult. And with AI will reinforce this kind of idea, because there's 50 to 100 different fungible token bridges, and AI will use whatever is, most liquid. There's literally one NFT bridge that exists, right? It's just Emblem Vault's the only one, at least the generalized version of it. So once I think we're into this like intelligence cycle, then AI will probably use Emblem Vault a lot more, which will then probably, encourage more bridging of NFTs across chains. And then at that point, it just becomes the biggest no-brainer idea in retrospect. But until then, we all just sit here and talk about chain abstraction until people kind of realize that that's an inevitability.
Oh yeah, man, and it's in our song too. We got Sam Spade thinking about account abstraction in our song. But man, it's been absolutely awesome having you, man. Really appreciate you giving us the time and really learning a lot about what's next for Hustle. But I'd love to give you the stage one last time to talk to the audience.
Just check out Agent Hustle. I mean, agenthustle.ai is the website. Even if you don't like how we do it, I recommend trying out Griffin or Hayanon or Wayfinder or Banker. There's a few other ones out there as well. But I've been in this industry 9 years, and this to me seems like the fourth cycle, the fourth or fifth major turning. I mean, in 2013, you had the first era of altcoins where people were resistant to altcoins. That became an inevitability. In 2017, it was smart contract platforms and ICOs, and that hasn't gone away. In 2021, it was NFTs and utility. Regardless of your opinion of utility, people still tried different types of things for it. This last cycle was meme coins and attention, right? SocialFi, meme coins, live streams, etc. And this next cycle to me is very clearly is painting out AI and intelligence and interoperability. Seems to be the two cohesive. You could with interoperability, you could say chain abstraction is also in that same category. Yeah. Those two things mesh together really well because AI is not tribalistic. They don't care what your opinions are or who you're fighting with on the timeline. They're just going to be looking for whatever the best opportunity is. And so it's a match made in heaven. Whether that comes in 3 months or 3 years, I think is to be determined. But I'm very certain that that's what's coming. And we're building that direction, basically bet our entire company that that's what's going to happen. And, couldn't be more excited for what's to come. So please check out Agent Hustle or these other DeFi AI platforms. Like my confidence is just like, you need to at least understand this stuff for when it comes. And so you can have an edge in the market for when the next wave of people come to crypto and they're familiar with AI. They'll already know how to prompt and do all this stuff, and they won't have any experience with the past, the past history of crypto UX with MetaMask and bridging and clicking buttons. The new users won't know that, and they'll just know prompting. And so it could be, you could fall behind quite quickly when that next wave does come because they have that experience, because OpenAI has 500 million active monthly subscribers and crypto has 20 to 50. So it's an inevitability. Use Agent Hustle. If you have any questions, then just shoot me a DM or Adam or even the OnChain Revolution guys. I think they could put us all in touch. Happy to help anytime, and looking forward to the future, and always enjoy our conversation every Friday.
For sure. Appreciate you, Jake. Can't wait till next week when we have you on again.
Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Have a good one.
All right. Take it easy. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, man, absolutely awesome as always. It's great to have those guys on the vault, man. I really hope you guys learned something. Really, we do this stuff for you. We do this to educate you guys on what we think is going to be the next meta, and it's to us, it's going to be AI. So definitely check out everything they're building over there, Emblem Vault, man. It's been absolutely awesome. Going on 2 hours right now. 347 of you guys in here. Appreciate every single one of you guys.
Yep, guys. And if you could check out our partners, we'd greatly appreciate that, as they also help us, be able to do what we love to do every day. They're kind of the second half of you guys. So if you wouldn't mind checking out our partners, greatly appreciate it. Emblem Vault is the interoperability tooling for Bitcoin ordinals. You're going to be able to jump your frogs, node, monks, puppets from Bitcoin layer 1 to Merlin chain to base chain to abstract, bunch of different environments, eventually Solana, and you're going to be able to eventually use Agent Hustle to help you do that. So very exciting stuff there, as well as their TGE for their Bitcoin Runes token that's going to be happening in September. You can actually get into their pre-sale right now on OpenSea. If you search Emblem Founder Vault Keys, you can purchase their NFT version, which is a ERC 721. But once we get to the TGE, they'll give you guys instructions on how to get those runes into your Bitcoin wallet. You can visit emblem.vision for more information. And BetBTC is the predictions marketplace for the Bitcoin ecosystem. All you need is a Bitcoin wallet, some Bitcoin, and 6 Bitcoin blocks, and you can start placing bets right away. They have their what's it called? Their hyper markets, not the hyper markets, the where are the 10-minute markets that you can actually
blitz
markets. I don't know why I went blank there, but you can bet up or down for Bitcoin, BNB, or Solana. You get 10 minutes to kind of lock in that price, and then an additional 10 minutes to see if you won or lost. If you visit betbtc.win and sign up for an account, you get 50 points as well. That goes towards a point system. You know, they're not beating around the bush. It's going to be for a future TGE there. But make sure you check them out at betbtc.win. And Artura Finance is the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. You're going to be able to trade synthetic Bitcoin runes like Doggo to the Moon, $1 billion cat, things like that, as well as possibly Ordi and Sats. And then popular tokens that are just in the industry like XRP and Tau, Ethereum, you're going to be able to trade those as well. Don't forget, too, you can actually, if you're not a trader, you just want to participate in their ecosystem, you can provide liquidity and earn passively there. Visit artura.finance and look out for news for their Hemi Bitcoin Layer 2 launch coming very soon. And then Fluid tokens. These guys are just crushing it left and right. Started building on Cardano, now building on Bitcoin and Cardano. They will have the bridge from Bitcoin to Cardano called Aquarium soon for you guys, and you're gonna be able to bridge their token once their TGE happens, the FLDT rune from Bitcoin to Cardano, because they already have the FLDT Cardano token. It's gonna be 1-to-1. So exciting stuff, guys. With that, if you are a founder of an Ordinal collection or you etched a rune with an established community, head over to their Discord, ask them how to get started with your staking vault. They have a team ready to answer all your questions. You can visit fluidtokens.com for more information there. And then Merlin Chain, they're actually going to be releasing their Wizard 0.3 very soon, an AI similar to Agent Hustle. You know, obviously there are different stages, but this one's going to start off helping you navigate through Merlin Chain with Merlin Scan, eventually get you to a point to where you know can place trades for you as well. Also, if you want to participate in helping secure the chain and you have Merlin Chain tokens, you can earn up to 15% APR. They will be adding Bitcoin very soon to that as well. And if you're looking to build too on Merlin Chain, you can start building there. They have great builder support, but visit merlinchain.io to learn all about what the chain has to offer. And lastly, don't forget about our integrated partners and Foxy AI building the metaverse on Bitcoin called the Bitverse, and the first-person shooter game called Cypher Striker that we're going to be live streaming again starting this Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Everybody's invited. All you need is a supported wallet. So all the Bitcoin wallets, and I believe Phantom and MetaMask as well. You pick a clan and then go at it for about 45 minutes. So really fun times there. And Ordinal Hive is the Ordinal aggregator marketplace for Bitcoin Layer 1 and Layer 2. The cheapest Ordinals around will be on Ordinal Hive. And make sure you take advantage of their trader tools as well, like live mempool insights there. And we thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man. If you guys have a few extra minutes and wouldn't mind going over to OnChainRevolution.io, we have some of the best articles dating all the way back to last year. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like we can help them get started and caught up to where we are today. If you guys need a VPN, we have the #1 VPN. That's Nord. Definitely check out Nord because, in my opinion, it is the best because I've used all the free ones. I used all the paid ones, and I always end up coming back to Nord. They actually have some new features on there, too, which is, like, really cool, where you can kind of see if there's any malware on your computer. Highly recommend you guys paying the $3 a month. Man, lock it in for the year like I did, and use our link here. Don't pay $10 a month, which if you go to their site, that they're going to make you pay. Use our link, get you that 70% off coupon, and you guys are on your way to at least making sure your computer's safe for sure. And if you guys are going to Bitcoin 2025 Las Vegas, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting, but do not wait until May to get your tickets. Get them as soon as possible and get them through our site. You guys can check everything out here. If you guys need merch for that event or any event, check out our store tab. That'll take you to our third-party Shopify. You guys can get hats, T-shirts, school bags, and so much more. And remember, the Ordinal Revolution shirts, they're dying off here. We're going to be taking them off in May. But if you do have one, you'll be considered an OG. If we ever see you win this shirt, it's going to be amazing. But really appreciate you guys taking the time out to check out everything here at OnChainRevolution.io. And guys, we really appreciate you guys watching, man. 362. And remember, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until Monday.
Peace.
Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Broke on advance, you don't even gotta mention. I swap it in the decks, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the sex, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Joggle beat. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity. Flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gon' end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money